it's probably not going to last forever. It's probably going to get chewed out, and it will get the job done, and that's all you could really ask for. And so it was a fun little project. Grub screws, 22mm internal diameter. Easy as. This is a passenger door off a Torana Hatchback. I'm currently doing some paint stripping, as you can see there. This is actually off my green Torana that you've probably seen on my channel. Wasn't really happy with the fit and finish of the end product and decided to redo everything I'm not happy with. So there should be quite a bit of content regarding that. Yeah, so make sure you test fit panels. Don't take shortcuts. I did a lot of test fitting of the panels during the body work and the metal work. But one thing I didn't do is install the rubbers and test fitted. Putting the car together, there's been incidents where once the door rubbers are installed, the doors don't close easily, need to be slammed, the doors stick out 1/2 inch. Yeah, so a lot of little fine details. And to be honest, I wasn't happy with it, so I'm just going to redo everything I'm not happy with, which is good for me in a way, because it's sort of like a fresh start, and all those fine details, those things that I wish I'd done before paint, I can just readdress them. Now this door is actually pretty good rust-wise, even when I started working on it. This, as you can see, is a brand new piece that I made and installed myself. Originally, the car had a little bit of a rust hole here, and so I made a little triangle patch and it just didn't fit right. I'll throw some photos of what it used to look like. I even left pinholes in some of the welds, and rusty water had like seeped through the pinhole, and it could be seen obviously because this is bright green. With this panel, the process was I decided on the area I wanted to repair. So instead of just doing a little area here, I decided to go out further. I made the patch first, and I used my bead roller for these little step downs, and also to turn this edge over because it's radiused, and obviously the part goes all the way around, has this little lip as well, like factory. So when I made that piece and put it over and then marked it out, I cut it, and it revealed the inner structure, which lo and behold was rusty as well. So it gave me a perfect opportunity to repair the inner structure, which I'll throw some pictures up once again, even while I'm talking, and seal it all up, weld it all in, seal it all up, and then weld the top cap over the top. So just by doing that alone made me feel sort of relieved and better that this car's going to get the attention it deserves, being a two-door Torana. Obviously the skin has been removed. That's another issue, which I'll talk about later. I did sandblast the inside. I do need to do a bit more treatment because it's sort of got a bit of surface rust, but it's not too bad. You can see the extent of the repairs inside. So a little bit of copper weld through primer that you see there is of the back side of the patch. All this is a new piece that I folded up. That's part of the inner structure. The external patch spot welds in those two places as factory. Replaced all this with some new metal because it was quite badly pitted here. This corner is pretty pitted as well. The metal is quite thin, so I'm going to be replacing that. And also the edge of the door, pretty thin as well, so that's a new piece that I welded in there and added a little fold like that, just to match the factory. Naturally, my redo list is pretty long, which is okay because this is the sort of stuff that I enjoy doing. Going back to taking shortcuts and things like that, this is This was hacked out for, I don't know why. This hacked out part, I didn't even bother fixing because I was like, the door card will sit over here and it won't be seen. Yeah, that may be true, but I'm going to know that I've taken the shortcut and it's going to look like that underneath. So I'm going to fix it up. It won't look as factory because I don't have beads as deep as these. In a repair panel, I will probably put my own beads in. Won't be the same as the other door, but it'll look better than that rubbish. Okay, cut 2 pieces. These are going to be my dies for the bead roller. One female, one male, using the profiles that I grabbed from those initial beads. These are, this is just round stock. I think it's just standard mild steel. I've tried using tool steel before on the lathe, and A, I'm not as experienced on the lathe, or I'm not really experienced on the lathe, and B, I don't think the tools can handle tool stock, so this should be softer and easier to carve out. It's probably only going to be a one-off. I don't foresee myself needing to make beads like that again, but it's all good experience. Let's go to the lathe. I'm the son of a machinist, but I'm no machinist myself. I don't really have the finesse or the patience. If my dad was looking over my shoulder, he'd be shaking his head. But anyway, that's the lower die. It's got the taper and the depth I need to hopefully replicate that bead. Just got to make the top part now. 22mm inner bore there for the shaft. Then I've got to drill and tap in a grub screw just to hold it in place. Got myself a soft bit of steel here, aluminium. I haven't pre-stretched it. I just want to see whether the profiles is right. One thing I have noticed is these edges are a bit sharp, and on the car the bead is a bit rounded, so that might be an issue. I might have to just round off these sharp edges first, but we'll see how the dies perform. Line, do a little bit of pressure. Tighten it down a bit more. 3. Yeah. Starting to look a bit sharp, so we'll see if we can get the depth. I'll probably have to round off those dies. The bead is pretty deep. It is quite sharp. We'll just take it to the panel and see whether we've got the depth. Yeah, it's very rounded where the top of the bead is, but we got about cut over 10 mil. It's not going to sit nicely in there because it's all warped. I should have pre-stretched it, to be honest, but we've got just about 10 mil in depth, so I'll round off the edges just so it's not as sharp, and I've got to figure out some way of ending the bead so it's nice, and might just use a chisel or something. But all in all, not too bad. Also, I want to show you this. Not too bad. Alright, I rounded the bottom die out a little bit. I left the top one unchanged for now. It's all trial and error. There's a better look of the bottom die. So I've sort of rounded the top edges. And you can see the difference. It's not as sharp, a bit more rounded out. I've got to get rid of the paint on this, but it's a bit more rounded. You can tell on the back side it's a bit more of a pinch there, and it's more of a taper there, it's more surface area. Well, I think that was successfully done. I mean, I haven't done many projects on the lathe, and I've never done bead roller dies before, but yeah, well, you can't buy that design, so I had to sort of make it as I went along. So yeah, it's pretty good, not perfect. Even the dies themselves aren't, well, they're not of high quality material. They're not tool steel, they're just mild steel, so cheap stuff. You know, the finish isn't the greatest, but hey, I'm probably never going to do those beads again, so it was definitely worth the time and experience to make them up. So it will allow me to continue with fixing up this door, making it look how it should. I guess also the design isn't perfect. It's hard to realize what shapes translates onto sheet steel, if you know what I mean. But I mean, we're at a ballpark, and that's all that, or all that I really care about. I could have just put some stock standard beads in there, and it would have been fine. No one would have seen it. But you know, I've got the tools, I've got the willingness to learn. So yeah, let's continue.